Hey guys, Magnus here, bringing you another video. I do apologise, I'm a little ill, so if I do sound a bit weird, it's because of that. But today, I'm going to be doing my Act 1 and 2 review for the Simpsons Tapped Out Abe's in Toyland event, otherwise known as the Winter event or the Christmas event of 2019. So, yeah, both Act 1 and 2 are out. The Act 2's been out for a bit now. I've kind of gathered my thoughts on it, so give my opinions here. Overall, I've been okay with the update. I do think, I do agree with the fact that it is a bit of a shame that it's not entirely Christmas themed, and I do understand the points that people are making, but I don't know, I'm fine with the fact that it's not all Christmas based, because although there's loads of characters that I think you could do that are really well Christmas based, I think buildings is a big issue, and they kind of there's so little buildings now that I would say are Christmas related. It's gonna be kind of hard to make the characters work with the building. So I understand why they have taken this approach. So in terms of the story, I think I'm overall okay with it, and I enjoy a lot of aspects of the story. I think the story is actually really strong and has a great theme. But I do agree that it doesn't tie in entirely with Christmas, and that is a fair point. That is my opinions overall, but let's go into Act 1 and we'll discuss the prizes. Of course, we'll talk about Act 1 and then I'll talk about the premium stuff in Act 1, I'll talk about Act 2 and then I'll talk about the premium stuff in Act 2, and then I'll kind of give my overall thoughts so far, and I'll try and say which event I prefer the most. So yeah, which act I prefer the most. So of course, Act 1 is titled A Claus and Son. I mean, overall, I quite like this act. I think it was right to start with, obviously, Abe's past and kind of start with his father and grandfather. But I do think this is, from what I can tell from the future acts that are going to come out next week and the week after, I do think, like, in terms of prize-wise, this is probably the weakest. So of course it starts off with a mystery box token, which I'm fine with the act starting with that, but I'm not happy with it being repeated again. Like, I'm glad that they are doing it and incorporating it into a prize, and I think that's actually a good thing. I do think one prize being a mystery box is actually quite positive, because it helps, players who haven't got everything in the game, and actually gives them a chance to try and get everything. But yeah, like I said, I'm not happy with it being repeated as the fourth prize. So that's my kind of opinions on the mystery box as a whole, and that applies to the Act 2 and Act 3 and Act 4, so I'll try not to repeat it. But the second prize is Crowd of Elves. Yeah, I'm a little iffy with this, so I'm not a massive fan of the crowds in general, but I'm sort of okay with the Elves one. It's a bit different, at least. The crowds for me are getting really tedious, but this one obviously has got a unique aesthetic to it, so I'm a little hesitant to bash it too much. Yeah, it's really weird, because I actually went on a big rant about crowds once, and then I backpedaled with the Flanders family reunion one, because I quite like that one. But yeah, I'm okay with this decoration, I guess, and you can buy more in store, of course, as well. I just don't. I think my one criticism of it is it doesn't tie into the act very well. It does feel it feels very weird and very poorly tied in. And the same applies with the Springfield gingerbread couch. But actually, I first want to mention, I do want them to add the happy little elves as characters in the game, and I really wish that they never added any of the previous stuff that we got, all the elves decorations we got, because I think doing a happy little elves event, it could actually work out really well. There would be a solid theme there, and plenty of characters they could add. I do think the buildings would become an issue, but I don't know, I'm tempted to go through and look at all the happy little elves appearances and try and actually make an event out of that, because I don't know, it might be plausible. So that might be a future project that will be coming out that I'll do. But anyway, the third prize is the Simpsons gingerbread couch. Of course, when you tap this, it has like a little animation of the Simpsons looking like they're in a gingerbread form. I hate this, to be honest with you. I hate having a couch gag in the game. It really annoys me. I think the only thing that I guess the only like exception would be the monster couch. I quite like that because it doesn't actually have the Simpsons characters on it. But anything with the Simpsons characters on it, I don't want in the game. That's dumb in my opinion. And yeah, I'm not a fan of this, to be honest. I think it's actually kind of a crummy prize, and it just doesn't fit. Like, I mean, I don't know where you're meant to put this either. Like, how are you meant to decorate something that's meant to be indoors, outside? Doesn't make much sense. Obviously, the fourth prize is the mystery box. We've discussed that. And then, so the final prize is Orville Simpson. Now, overall, I quite like the character. I think he's actually quite good. I like the quest line as well. I thought it was quite well done, although I think it was a little short and a little... could have had a bit more jokes in there. The one thing I will say is his appearance. Now, they decided to go with there's like three I think there's two different appearances of Orville. So there's like kind of the classic Simpsons version of Orville, which obviously you would have seen in the family tree, and someone pointed out in my Discord server as well. And then there's the more sort of modern look of Orville. Now, this is the same for other characters as well. For example, Clancy Bouvier has two different appearances. One where he's got like ginger hair and he's quite overweight, and one where he's got blue hair and he's quite slim. And there's other characters as well, like even like Waylon Smithers, for example. Like Waylon used to be African American in the early Simpsons. Barney, for example, used to have like blonde hair. So this is like a thing in general. But they tend to go with the classic they tend to go with the more modern look of the character. So they decided to go with this one. But I think that was probably the wrong decision in this case, because he looks so similar to Abe and so similar to like Old Tut that it's hard to tell them apart. So I kind of wish they did go with the kind of classic appearance of Orville. But nevertheless, I'm okay with it. It's a fine thing. So that is a Claus and Son overall. But let's go look at the premium item. So, of course, as you probably saw in my premium gameplay, the premium item was Old Tut with the Universal Panacea, the Simpsons Simpsons like university thing, like teaching thing to teach kids discipline. So, of course, we get Old Tut, and Old Tut is a flashback character. He has been seen before in The Simpsons, but he's been seen more modernly in The Simpsons. He was in quite not a recent episode, but he was in like what I would consider the modern Simpsons era. So, yeah, I'm okay with Old Tut as well. I think Orville's probably a stronger character, to be fair, and I think maybe they could have switched the characters around, but I do understand why they wanted Abe's father to be the prize and not Abe's grandfather, and it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really got much to comment. All my thoughts were pretty much in my premium gameplay, so yeah, overall I'm okay with it. It's a pretty cool prize, and it's good to sort of try and complete that Simpsons family tree. And then next up, of course, we get the Foggy London Christmas, which is, of course, Act 2. So, again, it starts with a mystery box, but I've already explained my thoughts on them, so I will not repeat them. So the second prize is Carnaby Street. So, the thing with this, I quite like this building. I do like these kind of sort of, like, you know, like 4-in-1 buildings, or in this case 6-in-1 buildings, or, you know, like things that I actually really enjoy these, because some cases it does feel a little unnecessary to add every single kind of minor building that we see in the background, and especially if like all these minor buildings are in a street, it makes sense just to add them as one decoration. And yeah, I'm happy that they did this. It's a cool little decoration. It's a cool building to have. Yeah, I mean, overall, I haven't really got much to comment on it. I think it's quite a pleasant building to have, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm glad that they're trying to tie in some more London stuff. Speaking of course, the third prize is a double-decker bus. Now, my one sort of criticism with this is you can't buy this in store after. It's a unique decoration, which I actually think is a mistake. I think that the Crown of Elves, if I had to decide, be it between this and the Crown of Elves, it makes much more sense that this be the one you could buy in the store. So I am a little annoyed that you can't buy this in the store. At least I don't think you can. Pretty sure you can't. Yeah. No, you definitely can't. Which I think it's a shame, because it doesn't need to be a unique decoration at all. There's many of these around the actual London streets, so it would make sense why you could get many of them in your town. Plus, I'm pretty sure there was a few seen in the episode as well. So yeah, a little disappointed. But overall, I think it's a pretty cool decoration. Probably my favourite decoration. so far. Well, definitely my favourite decoration so far. We'll have to say it's my favourite decoration overall. The fourth prize is another mystery box. Again, we've commented on that. So the final prize is Edwina. I'm a little iffy on Edwina. Now, I'm fine with her. I'm glad that she's been added at least, and of course this made sense adding her in this update, and I'm glad they added both her and Abby, because I think it would have been really weird and kind of disjointed and a bit jarring if they added like one in one update and one in the other, because essentially the characters are, you know, they're sort of connected. They've got a connection, so they've been seen together. So I'm glad that Abby's the premium and she's the prize. I just think Edwina overall isn't an entirely exciting character. I think her quest line was honestly, man, why do they have to get political? Like, the character isn't political, so why make the character political? They did the whole Brexit thing with the quest line. I wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest. It's just, it feels like they're trying to force like I'm fine. Obviously, I'm fine with doing political commentary. It's fine, but when you have a character that's not political in the show and you make them political for the sake of doing a political joke, it just feels forced. Like, the character didn't express that at all. I remember the episode. I think it should have been about her and Abe reconnecting or something, and they could do some jokes with that. But whatever. That's Edwina. But overall, I think the character's tasks are kind of funny, and yeah, she's an okay character. She's not a bad character. I just wish they kind of changed up the questline a little bit. But anyway, let's look at the premium character. So of course the premium character was Abby, and she came with the old theatre district. I like both of these. I thought Abby was actually really cool. She's got voice, she's got some interesting animations, although one is a little lame, the one where she's just kind of like you know, drooling. But I do admit the character appeared in one scene, so it's kind of hard to make interesting animations. So I think I'll let them off with the one meh animation, because actually that was the only animation they took from the show, because the other animation is actually unique to the game. So yeah, I think overall I'm happy enough with her. I think actually I might go as far to say she's my favourite character in the update so far. I probably would have preferred it to Orville and Ultor, and definitely prefer it to Edwina. So yeah, maybe I'd probably say that Abby is my favourite character in the game, in the update so far. And the old theatre district is really cool too. I quite like that as well. It's got a nice rustic feel to it. So yeah, overall that's Abby. So that is both Act 1 and 2 reviewed. I've done it. Yeah, I mean overall I'm okay with this update so far. Like I said, I think out of the two acts, I do think Act 2 is the strongest out of the two. Just because we got a building for a starter, which obviously we didn't get a building in Act 1, and I think the one decoration is stronger than both the decorations we got in Act 1. The double-decker bus is stronger than both the gingerbread couch and the crowd of elves. And I think probably our characters, I prefer Orville. I prefer Orville to Edwina. But I think Abby stands out against Ultor and Orville, so I think overall I do have to give it to Act 2. If I don't include the premium stuff, I still think it goes to Act 2 as well. Even including the premium stuff, I think it definitely goes to Act 2. Overall, like I said, I'm okay with the update so far. It's definitely, my interest is still there, at least. It hasn't, like, killed my interest entirely, so I quite like the theme. I think the theme is pretty cool. So yeah, excited for Act 3. We'll have to see. Not sure if I'm going to release a video yet before Christmas. There might be a walk into character profiles released potentially, but that would be it. I can't think of anything else I'd upload. If anyone's wondering, every year I do a Merry Magnus Christmas where me and my friends open like joke gifts. If anyone's wondering about that this year, it is happening. It's just going to happen a little later because we couldn't do it before Christmas, mainly just because people are going to university and stuff. So it will be happening. It just won't be until I think like probably the end of the year, but you will get it. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me your thoughts on Act 1 and 2 so far, and I shall see you next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.